Greetings and welcome back to game design. This is the final project, so here's how it's going to kind of work. You'll start the final project, and then and we'll go over that today in this lesson. And then you're going to make some good progress uh, on planning it, right? So just like everything else, you're now going to take your thing, put it all together in a plan, and turn it in. So I'm going to talk about the start, talk about the turning in. Uh, then this will have its own video on the project process. You will, well, by that means you'll do your own video on it. There'll be directions in it. And then you'll finally have to make sure it's all turned in. So essentially what it's going to look like is this is the directions in this video where you're at now. Then in this one, you're going to have this all filled out, which I'll talk about in this video. This all filled out. And then in this one, you'll go ahead and show your progress. So you'll use this worksheet to track your progress, make a video, show me where you're at. And then that'll give you until the week of the final to actually turn in the code. So plan, worksheet, update, worksheet, and video. And then the final code goes here, and you also have the final that week. So let's kind of jump into this. In this case, you'll have all of the bare minimum, right? The bare minimum to get a D grade. This is the bare minimum. One of the big things that's going to kind of make or break the grade is this additional unique feature, right? I mean, if you just do the bare minimum, that's going to get you the bare minimum. And again, how you compare them, like if you have more sprites, if you add more functionality, you have more than a few functions, right? Again, as a whole, your grade is going to be based on the game as a whole. So again, this is the bare minimum. Bare minimum. One unique feature gives you a lot of ability to improve and get a better grade. And then also, the more complex your game is, the better the grade as well. Now, this worksheet will give you the same kind of worksheet you've already used. I've modified a little bit to kind of meet the requirements, but I'll go ahead and jump into that, and then I'll show you the Pong game updated to meet the bare minimum requirements, right? So we jump over here to the assignment, and you'll see that now you have to have 3 screens. So when you describe your game, again, detail, right? So screen 1, everything on it. What does it do? How does it work? How do you get off of it? So in this case, I'm going to have a start player and a start 2 player, start AI. So start single player mode. There'll be buttons. And we've already done this screen, so the 2 paddles, one on each side. Each paddle will go up and down, but not off the screen. The ball will go diagonally. It'll bounce off the floor and ceiling. And as we'll talk about that, that's a different way. And then it'll bounce off the paddles. So it actually will use bounce on the paddles. We'll showed you that code already. And then it goes off to left or right. It'll reset itself, and the score goes up respectively. And then finally, once they get past 10, so the win condition is 10 points, it'll show the win skin, and then you can click on that last screen to go back. It resets everything to 0, 0, and you can start again. So this is the basic premise. You got the start 2, state area, that brings you over here. You play the game, and when it's done, it tells you which is the winner. Again, I'll show you the game in a second, but again, you need to do all this before you build the game, right? So you have some of this done. You should have this piece done, right? You should expand. You can see the detail. Again, this is the bare minimum detail, but you can see the detail I put into this just to get to this level, right? To bare minimum. So you have your 3 screens explained, and then what I split this up is new and old variables. So, or in this case, this is sprites, but I have the thing for variables. So left paddle, right paddle, ball. Those are already things, so I just re-put in all the information about them. What do they do? The velocity, counter, bounce. How do you control it? This one automatically goes because that's how velocity works. And then we have 2 labels. And this is the actual name of the label, so start and start AI. These are the actual sprite labels, right? These are the ones I'm going to use. If you look at the code, this is what they'll be. And then I just kind of pointed to where it will be, left, middle, right, middle. And if you click on this, it changes screen 2 and starts the game. If you click on this, it changes screen 2 and turns on the AI, right? So that makes sense. That's all for this one I added, but again, you want more detail. The more you add, the better chances your grade is going to be a higher grade. And then I have new variables and I have old variables. I already had the score for left and right. We showed you that before. what it tracks, and then the dir y. I'm still using that to get it to bounce off the top and the bottom. And then, because it goes off the edge and it restarts, so that allows me to bounce on the top and the bottom of the screen. What I've added was curse screen, and we'll see this when I go into the code, but because I knew I needed a variable to hold what screen I'm on, right? And you'll see what this looks like, but I need a variable. I know I need an AI, right? I need to know, hey, am I going to use AI or not? So 0 is off, 1 is on. And then I need and this is just a tracker for the winner, so whoever wins, it'll keep track of that, and then it'll also reset itself as part of the reset as well. So those are the variables I've updated. Functions, I still have my ball reset. This one actually is used in 2 plays, so if you read the directions, it talks about how it used, how you help it. So this one makes it easier. I'll show you again in the game. And then for my sanity, I could have put this all in the draw function, but for my sanity, all my screen 1 code is here, all my screen 2 code is here, all my screen 3 code, and again, we'll see it in the code when I go to it. And then this is the big one. I gave it artificial intelligence, so you can play it by itself. So that's what I want to do. Again, these are the bare minimum requirements, not too fancy, but that's a pretty good one. So that's it, right? You're not actually turning this in now, right? You are just filling this out, and that is this, right? That is this. So this is this, start the project, you're filling this out. It'll be due next Wednesday. So start the project, that's where you're at. It's not turned in here because you're working on lesson 26 this week, but I want you to get started on it because it is due next Wednesday. So if you start this next week, right, you only have till Wednesday to do it. So make sure you're working on this worksheet because your only project for this week, the only thing you're doing is this, building this app. You have the whole week to do it. So make sure that you're starting on the project and then you can finish it early, get it turned in so you can start coding it, right? So you'll turn this project in here. That's where you'll have the link to the actual worksheet, and then, right, so you can see here, worksheet, and then all that good stuff, right? So that is the piece of that you're going to work on. Now to the game real quick. So you'll notice this is the same. However, I did add the start buttons, and then you can see I added my new variables. And you'll notice my draw function is a lot shorter, right? So I have my curse screen 1, which is what it sets to by default. So it'll do screen 1 code. Else if it's 2, it'll basically destroy all the stuff from this. And again, I'm showing you this is the bare minimum. So this is not actually a screen, right? You're gonna have to figure out how to do this a screen, but these tricks should help you kind of get it over, right? So this is setting the winner to 0, which already was. This is here because this allows me to go back and forth, right? So I reset the winner here because once I go here, it shows the winner, and then I reset it. I don't really, these are already destroyed, so that's not super useful, but it'll destroy it once it moves into there. So like you see, run it, I have the 2 start buttons. And again, this is not a screen. This is all here. Now, an easy way to do this is have a background and destroy the background. But again, I'm not going to just give you all the answers. This is the bare minimum. I have my 3 pieces, so start, and I never had a background in this first place. Again, bare minimum. And then we'll go down to screen 1. Screen 1 basically is just the listener. It listens for this and this button. If it's there, go ahead and start the ball. And basically, if you hit the start, you go to the next screen, start the ball. If you hit the AI, well, the only difference is you turn on the AI. And then each one of these have their own draw sprites, so I can use it. I can put text and stuff before and after. So this is all the code if it's screen 1. Which, again, you click on one of these, and then it starts moving, right? So I clicked on the start, so it's not AI. You can see the points going up. And that's pretty much the code we already had, right? So there's the paddle. The only difference now is the right paddle has the AI check outside of it. So if there's no AI, then it's just the standard use the paddle. However, if it is AI, then this is the AI, which basically just says kind of follow paddle. If the ball is above the paddle, then head towards the ball. And then I put the speed, so it's not quite as fast as the ball. And else if it's less than it, then what happened? Right? If it's less than it, then go ahead and make it go towards the ball again. And then the rest of this is the standard code for bouncing the ball off of the wall, the ceiling and floor. This is checking to see If it scores, adds the score up, resets the ball, and this is where the 2 reset balls are, right? So, and then we added this code last, so this just allows it to bounce, makes that work a lot better. This is where we set the velocity of the Y using the dir, right? We update the dir, we still have the dir. Then we draw sprites, and then we add our text, and that's how we add our score. So this is, again, most of this has not been changed. I added the AI to it. I put it inside its own function, but most of that hasn't been changed other than the fact that now I have an if statement to win the game, right? That's different. So if the score, left score is higher, the winner is this, and we go to screen 3. If it's the right score paddle, then right paddle wins, and we go to screen. Both of them go to screen 3 if the score is over that. Function screen 3 is simply stop the ball, right? So you saw how it stopped. This is technically on screen 3 now. Resets the scores, but the scores don't show because that's one thing about putting them into the different screens. You put all the code you need for it in that screen. You'll notice the winner is the left paddle. Right, the winner is the left paddle, and basically this right here resets it. So if I click anywhere, it goes ahead and start. Now, in order to go to AI, you do have to reset it. I can go to AI, and you can see how the AI works. It just kind of follows the ball around. Not super complex AI, but it gives you something if you don't have someone else to play against. And then same concept, when this gets to score 10, it'll restart, and it'll keep playing. And we've already done the reset ball function. That's not new. So again, hopefully this gives you some ideas on how to do your own. Again, it does skip some steps out there, so when you're thinking about how to do all of this, make sure you think about how you can destroy stuff. You can use the screen concept, the if this, the way to track it. You might not need the screen. I've had one student that just had it, so it was all stopped. Everything was stopped, and then he put a background in front of everything. You click on the background, it destroys itself, and then everything starts up, right? So again, there's tons of ways to do this. You can see they're back to screen 3 on the game over here playing. So that is an example of kind of going through all of the steps, all of those pieces, all of the requirements for the project. So good luck. We'll see you next lesson.